Are short yoga practices worthwhile? If you've only got a few minutes, is it worth just doing a few poses or a quick meditation? For the answer, stay tuned. Many people who attend yoga class regularly get used to practicing for an hour or 90 minutes. And I can certainly remember back when I was in the habit of attending classes regularly, where if I didn't get a 90-minute practice, I felt kind of cheated, felt like it wasn't really worth it. I needed that longer thing to really get into the kind of state I was hoping to achieve with my practice. But as I've worked in yoga therapy, more and more I've realized it's the short little practices done regularly that really can be transformational. Now, when I'm working with people in yoga therapy, I typically ask them, how much time can you give me even on a bad day? Because what I'm trying to do is build a habit pattern, a new sanskara. Because the idea in yoga is that we don't just make a bad habit go away. We develop a new counter habit, practice that habit again and again until it becomes so strong that it can start to outcompete the old dysfunctional habit that we're trying to let go of. Okay, now the reality though is that for most people, they haven't got that much time. A 90-minute practice might be great, but most people can only pull it off once or twice a week, say, max. Or maybe a few people, teachers, etc., do a little more often, but for most people with busy lives, a couple of classes per week is pretty good. But if you're trying to affect deep and long-lasting change, daily practice is really where it's about. Patanjali, who is the famous codifier of yoga, the author of the Yoga Sutra, he says regular practice over a long period of time without interruption and with enthusiasm, that's the key to success in yoga, to change in yoga. Well, most people don't have 90 minutes a day or even 60 minutes a day. And when I ask people who come to me for yoga therapy, how much time can you give me on a bad day? The answer I get from most people is somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes, okay? That's what we're working with. And one of the principles of yoga and yoga therapy is we try to meet students where they are. And if they can only give me 5 minutes a day, I want them to succeed in doing 5 minutes a day. So I honor that. Sometimes when someone says I can do a half an hour, knowing that the most important thing is to establish the habit pattern, not to necessarily do a specific amount. I might cut it in half. I might say, you know what, let's start with 15 minutes because I'm trying to set my student up for success. Success in building the sanskara. That's the key to success in yoga. So sure, there's more to be gained if you're able to do a longer practice. No doubt. But it's the dailiness that's really transformational. And one thing I tell my students, say you're aiming for a 10-minute practice every day. If you do 20 minutes one day, you don't get to skip your practice the next day. There are no rollover minutes when it comes to yoga and yoga therapy. Okay, all for today. Thanks much. Namaste.